G'day Reefers, I'm Ania and welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we're here at not the prop room for an episode of the Frag Files on the road. So it's been just over a year since Cam was last here sharing with you Rocky Reef. And gee, there's been so much growth and changes in that 12-month period. So I'm really excited to be here today to be able to come and check them out as well. This first thing I notice, this Batavia blue stag Acropora colony has grown exponentially in 12 months. Last time Cam was here, we're talking, we could just see a couple of different fingers. It really felt like it was overgrown then because Cam was actually fragging it that day. However, now it's over 10 times more growth. And I love the way that these branches are twisting all the way up to the light. However, you can see these branches are actually growing out of the water in order to prevent them from going any higher and potentially touching the ceiling. I think this Acropora is certainly going to be on the chopping block today. When you look over here as well, we've got the iconic Australian Dallas coral. This Dallas is looking sensational. It's really creating a gorgeous structure here for these pajama cardinals, and you can really see how much dimension it creates when you allow for large staghorn Acropora to fill out these kinds of negative space when you first start your scape. There are a couple of points that you can see where the Dallas is actually making contact with a red scrolling Montipora, and also a piece that has fallen down here and is about to be engulfed in invasive green Rhodactis. So I'm gonna say that's job number 2 on our to-do list today. These colonies have all increased in growth and size and even color, and so many new corals have been put into this tank in the past 12 months. But Rocky Reef is truly not so rocky anymore. Darren and Vicky are struggling to find spaces and where to put their next coral purchases, and so I'm here today to help them try to thin out some of the very special pieces with intent to share with other reefers and also to preserve the genetics. This Recordia Yuma here in the center, which is featured in the most beautiful place possible, has actually got a really interesting story. Darren and Vicky were holidaying up in North Queensland in Cairns. We arranged with them an appointment so that they could go behind the scenes at a prominent coral wholesaler and potentially choose a couple of pieces to then have shipped to us in our next order. So not only has this beautiful Recordia started to grow these giant vesicles and multiplied, every time Darren and Vicky look at this piece, they're reminded, like a special memento, of a lovely holiday, and they have been kind enough to allow me to potentially remove one of the pups from this Recordia Yuma. So I'm really looking forward to getting in and giving that a go. The other changes, of course, that you'll notice if you check out the last video of Rocky Reef, which will provide the link below, is you will notice this cabinetry. It is incredible and currently still in production stages, so we're not going to focus today on updating the furniture because I'm sure Cameron will really like to come back here and show you all through it in a proper specific tour. So the fish are looking beautiful, the corals look magical. I think it's definitely time to get wet and get fragging. So let's take a look at my on-road fragging kit. We've got our dip bucket, bath bucket. We're going to be using the Seachem Reef Dip, which is an iodine-based dip and helps heal soft tissue on coral against wounds and bacterial infections. We're going to be mounting with a CG Ecotech Coral Glue. I have some pre-soaked frag plugs in order to get the air bubbles out of the porcelain in a range of sizes, including these giant circles which fit perfectly in our 3D printed Recordia hospitals. We've got some morph hospitals, or for those of you from the US, I understand you call these Shrooms. We've got a sterile blade, a good range of coral snips. These are stainless steel. I think with the staghorn, we're gonna have to use these big crescent cutters. We've got a frag rack, some egg crate, carbon. I brought that just in case we end up cutting some soft coral, but I think we're okay today. Got to use a turkey baster to get the water over the frags to set the glue, and as always, a towel. I think first I'm going to start with the stainless steel. These Aquavitro snips are one of my favorite. So I've removed most of the offending pieces. We didn't really want to thin out this beautiful colony too much. Simply remove the parts which were at risk of about to grow into neighboring corals or out of the water. I actually cannot remove this apex stag here with my standard cutters, so I'm going to give these crescent cutters a go. I suppose we could call that a success. Possibly a little more than I wanted to remove, but no collapse. It's a-okay with me. We've got all our Acropora frags, so put them here. I'll just align myself. Now, if you haven't seen any of the Frag Files videos before, you may not know the trick we use to mount stags such as these. Now, because some of them are incredibly top heavy, a really useful thing to do is to use a prop. So, just gonna dry these off. Oh, the ATO is going, so I took the water out. Put down our glue. There might be 8. And so the glue doesn't take very long to set, but in that time it hardens when it's got contact with water, and so we just pour water on from the top, which is why I've got the tub underneath so I don't make a big mess. And where necessary, I just flatten off the base of the acro so that it has better contact with the porcelain. You can use anything as a prop. I'm sorry, I'm just blocking your angle there, your view. But we're just going to continue just like that. Exactly how we did the Dallas fragging video. I think they look really nice. I do say so myself. Alright, so for the next part of my challenge today, I'm going to try to reach down into this Recordia Yuma colony and extract one of the pups. Not just any pup, but this pup specifically. Now, wish me luck, because as you can tell, I'm not a tall person and this is a tall aquarium. So I'm hoping that I can reach and everything will just come out as planned. So I've poked around the colony of Yuma and determined the rock work is pretty much being held together by the Recordia. In-tank fragging is never predictable, and you always have to be ready for anything. So that's why I brought so many different tools today. And I've got this stainless steel razor blade, blade on a stick, that I'm going to use to very, very gently see if I can get the layer of coralline algae up from the base of the Recordia. I find it really interesting that people want to multiply these Recordia and we propagate them in brutal ways, at times even doing cuts through the mouth. Yet this colony has multiplied this way all on its own. And the more I think about it, I've discovered these giant, long, very old vermitid snails embedded within the colony. And so what I'm thinking is that, like, anyone who knows me knows I don't like vermitids, but I feel that this could be a key factor in how there's been so much multiply over time. The vermitid snails, for those of you who don't know them, release a slime to capture prey, and that's these things here. And where the web sits on tissue, it tends to irritate soft tissue. And this is the second time I've encountered extreme propagation where vermitids are present. So maybe that's a benefit of having a vermitid colony. Oh, I can't see it's a bit of a glare there. Just really gently, very gently. Try from both sides. Oh, oh, nearly there. Yes. We have success. Oh, I'm so happy about that. What a relief. So while we're in here, I just have to say, Rocky has told me about this little hitchhiking Persian rug Rhodactis. The parent is just here. It's let out a foot pup all on its own over time, potentially cut by vermitids surrounding it. So while we're here, we're going to cut this into 4 so that Rocky has the opportunity to share it with other very lucky reefers. So first up, we've got our 3D printed morph and Rick hospitals and our tiles, which are going to allow for the coral to settle. And when they have, we can easily just pop out the tile and reuse the hospital. So these can be helpful for all kinds of loose corals, especially soft corals, which can be really difficult to glue down. If you haven't managed to have gotten a piece of the coral tissue which is attached to the rock work, or a shell or a bit of porcelain already, then something like this can be the difference between losing your little pup or keeping it safe and secure. So we're going to just pop that in the water, ready to go. Now, another way that Corallimorpharians can propagate is to cut them through the mouth. You can cut the feet, you can cut through the mouth, but I'm just going to remove a little bit of the base rock first, so that I've got some zoanthus here, which a little bit of an added bonus, little starfish. So it's very important to locate the mouth. We're using a nice clean blade. The mouth is just here. I'm just cutting right through. Put the blade right down to the base of the rock. And you need a steady hand that, with some experience when performing this kind of action on rock, because it can be really difficult to know how bumpy it is underneath, and you most certainly don't want to get yourself into any trouble. You have to remember I'm a professional and I do this regularly for a living. Lots of training. So then it's time to cut the rock. Sometimes a bit of the tissue does not get cut all the way through. So just doing it very slowly. 1 and 2. We could just leave it as 2 and then there will be 2 growing on there and 2 on there. I may just do that. We can always have a chat with Rocky and Vicky down the track. And they can update us how they're going. So once these pieces have grown their own mouth, they are then capable of assimilating their own nutritional energy. But up until that point, they really have to use the energy from a photosynthetic energy until that point. So that's why it's important that these mesh tops are see-through. Rhodactis, Ricordea and Corallimorphs are generally, they usually prefer low light anyway, so this is all we're going to do for those today. I would say that this fragging session has been a great success. Thank you so much for watching today's episode and joining us as we take Frag Files on the road to Rocky Reef. Let me know in the comments below if you've got corals growing out of your water that you think that you would like us to come and visit your home reef. I've got myself a little piece to take home and grow out. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Ania and happy reefing.
That's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you've subscribed to our channel so you don't miss an episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!